Hello and welcome back to the Free Table Corner. Today we are diving into another in-depth, fast-paced terrain building session where you can follow along and level up your terrain building skills. I am creating something unique, a shrine to no other than the fertility god. Stick around to see how it all comes together, because trust me, this one turned out even better than I imagined. The first thing I did was to cut out two squares from XPS foam, one 20 by 20 cm and one 12 by 12 cm. Then I measured out the center of the largest piece so the smaller one would be perfectly centered, with equal space on all sides. I applied glue, placed it in position and secured it with toothpicks. Next, I used my Proxen cutter to carve out floor tiles and bricks. I split up the bricks, tossed them into a box with some stones and gave it a good shake. That adds a rough texture. Now it's time for tweezers and glue. Another way to achieve stone effects is to etch lines directly into the XPS foam, but I find that adding individual bricks gives much more depth. I'll link to a video below where you can see the etched approach in action. Once all the bricks are set, I place the larger floor tiles. Just like with the bricks, it's important not to line them up perfectly on top of each other. Overlapping them, like in real constructions, gives a much more authentic look. A quick break to say thank you to everyone watching and a huge shout out to all of you who have subscribed. It really keeps me motivated to bring you more and better content. If you are enjoying this video and haven't subscribed yet, hitting that button would mean a lot. I clip off the exposed toothpicks and glue on the remaining tiles. Next, I cut out a pedestal from a foam square, keeping it somewhat irregular rather than perfectly round. I also tested pedestal height using a mini to get the right scale. Then trim any excess foam to ensure it's centered. I use a crumbled ball of aluminum foil to add texture by pressing it around the surface. I glue down the pedestal, securing it with a toothpick. And then I realized I forgot to carve out the stairs leading up to it. Ideally, you do this before attaching the bricks, but as you can see, it still works. After that, I create two additional stairways so there are paths up to the pedestal from the different sides. I added toothpicks around the edges on the larger platform, trimming them down to about 1.5 centimeters high. Wrapping a string between them forms a fence to keep our miniatures from taking an accidental dive. Once everything is in place, I secure it with a bit of glue around each toothpick and on the knots to keep the string from unraveling. Here is what it looks like so far. Now I switch to a different type of foam with a glossy paper coating. I measure and cut 4 3 x 6 cm pieces to represent large sandstone slabs framing the pedestal. I secure these with toothpicks and glue, tilting some slightly inward to make them look aged and weathered. To seal everything, I coat the foam with a watered down glue to prevent the XPS foam from melting when I prime it. On the 4 sandstone slabs, I brush on a mix of a coarse grout, glue and water to create a carved stone effect. After priming it, first with the black spray and then with the white, I am ready to start airbrushing. I apply a base coat of Citadel snakebite leather contrast paint. Adding more in certain areas to create natural variation. After testing a few options, I found that snakebite leather gives the look I'm after. But feel free to experiment. Next I airbrush Vallejo's ochre yellow from their air collection onto the 4 stone walls. Then I lightly spray a grey layer over the whole piece to tone down the colors and give it a worn look. That's the last of the airbrushing, so a thorough clean is in order. Maybe I need to get another airbrush eventually, because this one here is starting to fall apart. For the pedestal, I am using a grey shade from Army Painter, and then I finish it all off with a strong tone wash from also from Army Painter, skipping only the 4 yellow stones. You can see how the wash really ages the piece, adding a weathered, gritty feel. Then I take a risk and freehand some symbols, something I don't normally do. They didn't turn out perfect, but after a final wash, the rough look actually works. And finally, for the fertile symbol, a small rabbit statue. I'm leaving the rabbit unpainted as a nod to the purity cherished by the fertile god. And there you have it. The shrine to the fertility god is complete. I hope you enjoyed following along with this build, from the carved bricks to the final weather details. This piece was a blast to create, and it really adds something special to the tabletop. A perfect blend of a grit and myth. If you are inspired to create your own terrain or have any questions, drop a comment below. And don't forget, there's a whole world of terrain ideas, tips and builds on this channel, so stay tuned for even more. As always, keep your blade sharp, your dice rolling, and may your warbands always find victory. Thomas, signing off.